I think that Finkelstein's arguments are quite legitimate and quite sound. From the ground, there's a bit of a different perspective that I would say that I'm observing within Palestine. The influence of the Arab Spring is very much, everyone's talking about when is the Arab Spring, when is the Arab revolutions coming to Palestine, which I think is probably the wrong question. But there is an impact on the ground. There are youth activists that have been emboldened by what's going on in the Middle East and are, instead of kind of directly using that energy against the Israeli occupation, they're directly using that energy against Israel's divide and rule policies. And political unity inside the Palestinian political spectrum. And so this is an incredibly important component of all of the system. This is what you saw with the March 15th movement, when they were saying, we need new elections for the Palestine National Council, we need a vote for every Palestinian everywhere. Unity is the issue. The Israelis have been using divide and rule. And so we need to get over that. Now, what that will mean in the future, I'm not exactly sure. I understand that there's a lot of discontent with the Palestinian Authority, that there is a lot of discontent with Hamas, and so that there is going to have to be some sort of reformulation of the Palestinian, kind of political sphere. Additionally, and I think this is where the international community kind of comes in more, is that the Arab revolutions have elevated the new media platforms like Facebook and Twitter to an incredible level of credibility, especially in the media. Now, in Palestine, activists are not using Facebook and Twitter to organize events. That's not the issue, but they're using it to get information out about the nature of their struggle, which in a kind of immediate and intimate way. For a long time, or maybe even forever, the kind of Western imagination on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has been one of, this is a conflict about peace and security. This is a conflict about two relatively equal sides, and it's a battle over, the nature of the security arrangement and a peaceful agreement between the two parties. While that is the case to a certain extent, the narrative is much more one of a rights-based struggle. This is a narrative of there are not two sides that are equal. In fact, there's one side that's living in a situation of complete deprivation of human and civil rights, living under a military occupation. And so to reformulate that narrative is, I think, perhaps one of the most difficult strategies, if you want to use that term, strategies to move forward. And so, the flotilla is a kind of form of that by the nonviolent activism, and the boycott is also a part of this. And this is very much the internationalization of the Palestinian struggle. But on the ground, Palestinians standing at checkpoints, chanting, and then getting shot at or whatever, and tweeting about this information, and continuously doing these types of actions which highlight the deprivation of human rights. This is what needs to happen on the ground, or what is happening on the ground. So just this week you have the Palestinian Freedom Riders, right? This is a very carefully organized activity that demonstrates, again, the segregated nature of the system that exists in the West Bank. And I think that there will be probably more of these, and there is going to be more and more of a tension of youth activists that want to highlight the nature of their struggle, the rights-based nature of their struggle, and won't worry about necessarily this political wrangling that goes on between the Palestinian Authority and Israel and all this kind of stuff. So, this is really what's going on the ground in terms of the strategy forward, at least in my opinion.